What's going on, guys? Welcome back to LS Garage. So today is kind of a bittersweet day, bittersweet evening, I guess, for me. Decided to sell the C5. I love the car. It's been everything I wanted it to be. There's various reasons why I did decide to sell it. But really this is just kind of like a compilation video of some stuff that I had from the car that I never got videos put together for. So check these out, sit back, relax, and enjoy these little clips. I'll do a little bit of intro, just voiceover stuff on this. But the clips were kind of limited, so I was going to have to put some work into actually doing intros and outros. So just put it all together. You can check it out, and I'll talk more about the reason in just a minute. So in this video, I'm doing my first autocross. This lap was a 58-second lap. Most of the guys that had done this before were running mid-50s on this track. I think this is my third run. I got to have 5 runs that day. I had a ball with it. The car did really well. Excellent turn in, predictable. Really the only drawback and the only shortcomings was myself. I'd never done it before, and this is my first time, so had a lot of fun with it, and definitely want to continue it with the next car. So today we are going on a cruise. We're going to arguably one of the best, or the best, I guess, roads in Oklahoma. It's called the Talamina Scenic Drive. Most of you that have been around, this area probably know what this drive is all about. From where I live, it's about 3 hours. So we are driving around here. We are driving down out through, it's called Seminole, Oklahoma, and nice countryside out here. Not a lot of turns, but a little bit up and down. Had some trucks and stuff get in our way to make it a little more fun, but been a good drive so far. It's a little chilly out right now. It's 44. It's supposed to get up to about, I don't know, I think around 65 today. So hopefully it'll be a good drive. Hopefully we'll have fun once we get there. It's the prime weekend for leaves changing, so it's a lot of forest area. A lot of, the road itself is really windy. It takes about 45 minutes to get through it. All twists, all turns. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like the Tail of the Dragon, if you guys are familiar with that. Not quite as aggressive, but you can be more aggressive on it. It's not patrolled real heavily, so you can have some fun on it. You can get going fairly fast. Some of the areas are tight, some of them are more loose, but hopefully we'll have a good time through it and it won't be too crowded. So I feel like I'm spinning all over everything. Hopefully it doesn't show up in the video. Anyway, so we're coming up to an area now. We're gonna have to slow down a little bit, but I will get some more area or some more video here soon. Actually, if you want to check this out, I'll do a little montage of the drive. A few days ago, I was scrolling through Facebook and I found a link to a rear diff. I went down there, my dad and I went down there and we picked it up. We had a heck of a time. We were gonna go down in one day. So it's in Odessa, Texas. And I'll cut to that little hotel clip. Here we are in Odessa. Say hi. You're on video. Say hi. Hey, you there. Say hi.
Oh. Hi.
We are in Odessa, Texas.
Beautiful. Odessa.
The armpit of America, as you like to call it. It wasn't too bad, right? It was kind of, it was a little bigger and nicer than I thought. So anyway, down here in Odessa, Texas, came down here to pick up a 411 rear end for the Corvette. So I found this on Facebook a couple days ago, and it's a fresh rebuilt 411 single rib diff. It's not the three rib, but that's all right. For what I'm doing, it's not a big deal. And I thought about wanting to do, I've been considering doing different gears in this car for a little bit, but I wasn't totally sure that I wanted to do that. So I ran the numbers on it, and it ended up being a good idea. It'll get the RPMs, where I want them. Car will seem faster. It'll just be better with a 6-speed. I think overall it'll just be more fun to drive. So what I found was a freshly rebuilt America Performance 411 rear, and the guy had the thing for sale for $400. And I thought, what? This can't be right. So what happened was America Performance does those Facebook drawings. And so what happened was I inquired about it, and the guy said, yeah, I won it on the drawing back in August. And I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll look into it and see. So went on American Performance's site, talked to him through Facebook, and said, yeah, it's the guy's name that won it. I looked on their Facebook page, or I guess American Performance Facebook page, and it showed that, yeah, this dude actually won it. So they actually had a video of him, his number being called and his name being read from a list, and it's legit. It's the same thing. So brand new, totally rebuilt, $400. So I talked my dad into coming down here to Odessa with me. It's about a 6.5 hour drive from our house, but it's worth it. Just picked it up. It's all in the car. It's in a box that got water damage, so I've got to clean the thing up a little bit. It's just kind of dirty. Hopefully no water got inside it. I'm going to use my buddy's little scope camera to make sure there's not any rust inside the thing. I think it's fine. I think it was just some water on the outside of the case, but stuck in the ribs and stuff, but we'll see. So anyway, I'll show you guys tomorrow morning. So little did I know we were going to have a great time on the way home the next day. We're driving along, going great, going good. We left at like 8:30 in the morning. It's like a 6.5 hour drive. It was Veterans Day, so I was off work, paid holiday for that day. My dad's retired. He wanted to come along just to get out of the house and kind of do something different. So he was nice enough to go with me. We took his car, which is a 2016, I think, 15, 16, Honda Accord. And so it's a sport. So it's a little bit lower than stock. And he, he has that car. My mom has a Hyundai Tucson, a little bit taller, SUV. So he drives both of those. And so we're putting along, we're getting along, going good down, kind of out in the middle of nowhere from Odessa back to Central Oklahoma. We get to outskirts of like Wichita Falls. So it would have been, I guess, southwest side of Wichita Falls. And we exit because I told him, I said, hey, let's go for a Taco Bueno. There's one over here. The one that we have here has kind of gone down the flusher. Let's try it. Maybe it's good. So we exit the highway and we're driving along, and on Google Maps it says, hey, there's a slowdown up here. I told him, I was like, just our luck. There's a slowdown right where we're going. So traffic was kind of slowed down. He was in the far left lane, and it's a 3-lane, two or 3 lane road. Not a highway. We were putting along, probably going 20, 25 miles an hour, and we realized that, hey, this stop in the road is debris in the road. And so we get up close to it, and as we approach it, I look at it, and it's a jack stand, and a box that fell out of somebody's car. So my dad, not thinking, thought, I can straddle this. So he straddles it, hits the jack stand. Like, the thing's not real big, but his car's lowered, so it wasn't like a full size one. It was probably like a small, like equivalent to like a small Harbor Freight jack. And so jack stand. So he straddles, I think maybe the jack also, I don't know, but the stand was the highest piece. Anyway, he decides he can straddle it. Big mistake. All of a sudden, I look in the rear view, I'm seeing a trail of liquid. I'm like, oh great, here we go. We pull into Taco Bueno, I get out. He has put a hole in the oil pan. Like, it's just dumping oil. We're like two hours, 15 minutes away from home. Maybe almost 2.5 hours at that point. And I thought, great, what are we gonna do? We're stuck out here. Luckily we were in town and not, where we were in the middle of nowhere. And so he had AAA, old guy. Smart, I guess, for that respect. But anyway, he calls AAA. He gets a tow to a nearby shop. I call my wife. This is, after work. Her work day. I guess it wasn't after work yet. It was the middle of the afternoon. And so she left work early. She comes, picks up my dad and I. Took the car to the shop. We're waiting around. Get the thing back. And all that was just to get this great deal on a rear diff, which I saved, I don't know, $700, $800 maybe on this rear diff, because it's a brand new rebuild. And so it's got 411 gears in it. They quoted me $1,100 to do one, if I brought them mine, sent them mine. So that happened, but my dad's out like $500 on oil pan and repairs. So I felt horrible. I've tried to pay him for it. He kept saying it's his mistake. I keep telling him it was my trip. He's like, yeah, but if you drove, you probably wouldn't have hit it, which I don't know if I would have tried to straddle it or not, probably wouldn't have. I've told him, I said, whoa, stop, go around that. And he just went over it. So anyway, made it back safe. He's going to get his car tomorrow. They've had it since last week, into last week. So what I'm doing is I bought this thing and I'm saving money to be able to do flex fuel, like part 2. So I've got the ECU in the car for it. And now I want to do flex fuel, the actual fuel parts that I need. So the fuel parts that I need are the fuel pump and the hot wire kit, which I have. So I'll show you that. So this is the fuel pump and the hot wire kit that I need. And I bought that used. I haven't even looked at the thing. Hopefully it's legit. I've had it for a while. And I still need to get LSA injectors, I think is what I'm going to go with. It's got LS3 injectors on it now. So I'm going to sell those, switch those out. And then I've got a flex fuel sensor actually on. So there's a flex fuel sensor on this car that I was going to use to run like a ethanol content sensor on this thing. But the way the tune is set up, I don't really need to disregard these tires in this car. It's kind of dirty, but it's got a sensor on it that I'm going to pull out. And it's got some fittings I'm going to reuse. But I need some fittings to go off the stock fuel feed. I need to be able to tap into what's on the car, the factory feed line. So still got to order that up, but just little odds and ends. So order that up, get the pump installed at the same time as the rear end. Hopefully labor will be a little bit cheaper. A buddy of mine quoted me like $500 on the job to run the hot wire, the new pump, drop the tank, do all that, put the rear in the car. So I'm hoping I can get between $300 and $400 for this rear, and all I have to do is buy a few fuel parts. So when I say this rear, I meant the one that's actually in the car, the 342. So I'm gonna try and sell it, kind of after the fact, pay myself back ultimately for the labor. So anyway, without further ado, here is the rear end, and I'll tell you a little more about it. So it is a 1-rib unit, as you see by the single rib on top. Disregard the brown crap. This thing has been epoxied. It is new. Bad news was when I picked it up, the guy that had it, apparently since he didn't give a lot for it, he didn't really think about
keeping it, you know, nice and clean and dry, sadly. So what happened was it was in a box that was water damaged. So all this stuff you see right here is actually water and dirt and box debris from the box falling apart around the thing. So it scrubs off. I've already scrubbed quite a bit of it. You're not going to see this. It'll be up on the top of the, up inside the car. I'm not too concerned about it. It's just in crevices and stuff. I might get a flat blade to it and scratch off some of it. But I did count the teeth. I opened the thing up. It is a 411. It's got the stamp on it right there. I verified it to the ad that it came from, so it's legit. So here's the car with the lights. Pretty decent backdrop at this church. Can't really see too well, again, because of the camera. I'm really happy with how these turned out. Made the car look a lot more current. I've got his fog lights, or not fog lights, but his corner lights, also the sequentials. And then I've got the straight line LED side markers and LED tails. All the lighting's updated, except for that center light. Got to get one of those. But try and get some pictures here. So here's the cutoff. Based on my adjustment in the garage, I went about 2 inches or so above the blue line that was right in the middle of the beam when I was right in front of the door. And that's what I'm getting now. I'm not sure what's up with the little hooks on the sides. You don't really see it when you're driving. Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but I'm happy with it. It looks really good. That's the lows. That's the highs. Highs have a little more significant cutoff and they go a lot more down the road. I'm about 25-30 feet from that mobile mini trailer in front of me, behind Walmart over here. But I'll do some video driving real quick. They're looking really good though. The video is capturing it definitely brighter than it is. But it looks really good. I mean, you can see really far down the road. It's probably, I don't know, hard to judge how much darker it is in real life, but you can definitely see down the road pretty well. There, that's a little more true. But this is definitely brighter in the camera than it is in real life. So, I'm about to the road out here where there's no light. Just show some brights. Okay, it's coming up a hill in the middle of nowhere. It's actually not nowhere, but it's not far from the house, but definitely no light out here. Again, this is definitely picking up more light than real life. The camera is overcompensating the balance of the white balance a bit. I'm trying to do brights, but I got something up the road. I'll do it real quick here. So that's brights. That's no brights. You can't really tell the difference in the video. Pause it real quick. But I love them. I mean, they're definitely awesome output compared to stock. If you have a tinted windshield, you're not getting the most out of your lights, obviously. I got this car tinted with the factory lights and it was horrible, but the factory lights sucked anyway. So that was kind of a bad representation. I think that, you know, with no tint, I think I had 35% on the windshield, which doesn't sound like much, but it was making a big difference. I actually brought the beams up initially because I wasn't getting the output that I thought I was gonna get. So I pulled the tint off myself with a heat gun, came right off, and I'm happy now, a lot happier with what's going on with this thing. Give me a second, make this turn. So the car looks pretty good. I put one of those little lip spoilers on the car. I didn't do a video about that because there's like 2 or 3 on YouTube already, but pretty straightforward. Have a spotter, mark the center on the spoiler, mark the center on the car, based on the center between this corner and that corner. You'll hit right in the middle there, bring that back visually, mark center, pull half of the strip of adhesive off on the other side, have a spotter, hold it. Pretty straightforward. Can't really see where it goes, so you really have to go by feel on that line. So pretty happy with it. Haven't had it on very long, had it on a couple weeks now. Only driven the car once or twice. But anyway, the reason for doing the ceramic coating again is this stuff isn't repelling water or water phobic or whatever. It's not beating water like it should. And so what I'm gonna do is I've got some new stuff I'm gonna try. It was the cheapest thing I could find on Amazon, and I don't really know how well it's gonna work, but it got pretty good reviews. So it's like 25 bucks a bottle, and it is called Wieruksen, I guess is how you say that. It looks like some kind of German name or something, but it's actually made in China. It's a ceramic coating that's a little more serious. Has the hydrophobic effect. It's supposed to be very, very shiny. Has a 2-year warranty, 10H scratch resistant wear or whatever, high temp resistance, and oxidation and corrosion resistance. So basically this stuff is $25. I was reading on some reviews on Amazon that you can do 2 to 3 cars with it, depending on the size of the car. You open it up, and I'm not trying to like promo the product because they're not paying me or anything, but give me 1 second, I'll open it. So you get a little bottle, and you get a little foam applicator, and you get instructions and a cloth, and you're supposed to wrap the cloth around the foam, which I don't know if I'm gonna do that. It's a pretty small applicator. I might try it and see. I also bought, I've rearranged my little cart over here. See where I put it. I bought some of these little Adams applicators that are a little bit thicker, and they're actually covered in suede. I may end up using one of those. So I'm going to try the cloth method. I don't think I'm going to like it, having to try and hold the cloth over that foam, but that's the plan anyway. So pardon the mess around here. I'm in the middle of trying to clean out our storm shelter, and it's a big mess. And then other stuff over here is just messy in here. So I'm trying to get this car done because there's a cruise in a couple weeks, and I want the car to look as good as it can, obviously, and I want to protect it a little bit better. So what I've done is went through a drive-through wash, came back. There's a little bit of grime left on it behind the wheel wells. I alcoholed those areas already. Then I went around the car with clay bar. I clay barred the entire thing. It feels really slick. It feels nice. That coating that was on it before did a good job. It just didn't really repel the dirt very well. It didn't repel dust at all. It got dusty really fast. That was one of the peeves that I had. But the main thing is it wasn't repelling water. I always had a bunch of dirt and water behind the wheel wells, which I expect to an extent, but I'm just not real thrilled with it. So the other stuff, not bad. It was cheap. I basically looked online to find the cheapest ceramic coating I could find. They got good reviews, and this was the winner. So hopefully it works. I've heard great things. It's cheap. Like I said, 25 bucks for that little bottle. Supposedly do 2 to 3 cars with it. So we'll see how it goes. Basically, I'm going to probably just use the suede applicator. I don't really think it matters. I'll do like half the hood to start with, and then I will buff it off. And I'm just going to do sections at a time because I'm kind of limited on time today. I'm only going to be able to do a little bit. Got to leave for a little bit and then come back. It's supposed to rain in a few days, so I want to get this done today for sure by tomorrow, so I can back the car out and move it as close to the wall as I can, and hopefully rain won't drip on it from this door. It shouldn't. It should be over here by itself. But I want to let it cure for a few days. I've heard online, don't get them wet for the first 48 hours. For sure, people were saying really 7 days, not get them wet. So I'll probably let this thing sit for a week or two. The cruise isn't for 2 weeks, like 2.5 weeks. So I got plenty of time. Just want to get this right. The wheels actually are going to come off soon. That's one thing I have to do also. And I'm getting the paint on Wednesday for the calipers. The red is just kind of dull. I wanted to do it since I bought the car. I'm going to go with a Rust-Oleum. I think it's called like Sunrise Red or Sunset Red or something like that. It's not actually a caliper paint, but I've heard folks use it and have good success. So I'm going to rough these up, do that. Yeah, so I may have to kind of rethink how I'm doing this. I'll probably paint the calipers and stuff after the rain. So for sure, want to get the coating on the car, be able to get it to the side, then do the caliper paint maybe this weekend if it gets warm again. Still kind of in early spring month, so the weather's kind of hit and miss. So anyway, that's the goal, and here goes nothing. Okay, so the hood is done. Hold on a second. Okay, so for sure the way to do it is to use their towel because it saturates it better. It's not as easy to work with, but the Atom stuff you really have to use a lot. I think this is just going to use the product more efficiently. The hood looks really shiny. I like it. It looks better than it did. A little bit of depth, a little more depth, a little more clarity, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I put a little bit more on this side. I used like 6 drops and I could see the lines better. So the initial panel over there, that side, I'll probably put a second coat on that side, and I may put a whole second coat on the whole front of the car, just because, you know, that's where you're hitting most of the dirt. So I'll try and research it and see what folks have said about a second coat. I think the other product, you know, you had to wait 24 hours, so I may wait like 2 days and then put a second coat just on the front half, just front fenders, nose and hood. But yeah, I think that it looks good. You can see the difference right there in the bumper. The bumper seam with the Corvette emblem into the hood just looks a lot more glossy. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. Cheap and sort of, you know, so far effective. Hopefully it works well in the elements. So there you have it. Did some stuff with the car that was a lot of fun. That was over last fall primarily. Starting to be early spring, late winter of 22. Had the car since April of 21, and obviously I put a lot of time and a lot of work into it. Really, it just boils down to wanting something that I can haul my son around in. He's getting more into hot rods and wanting to get into cars a little bit. He's kind of showing some signs. He's about to be 7 years old, so he's still in the back seat, at least if his mom's aware. She doesn't like him riding around in this car, so that's one of the main reasons. And also just wanting something a little bit newer, a little more creature comfort, wanting something that I can put on a track but not be as trackish as this car is. Just some minor little peeves of this car. Simple stuff, just like the clutch is stiff. I went to the trouble to put a return spring on it. Still feels pretty darn stiff to me. I'm not really sure what's causing that. I changed the fluid once. Didn't really make much of a difference. It might need it again, but I don't think that made too big of a difference on it, honestly. It didn't really, the color's not changed and it looks fine. What else? There's a little bit of a ticking from lifters or headers. These cars don't have much insulation, so you can hear the exhaust a lot more through the firewall. Could be lifter tick also. There's nothing wrong with the car. It runs just fine. It makes great power. It's just a little bit noisy. Outside the car, you can't really hear it. I think it's just a resonant issue inside the car. Suspension's pretty stiff. I knew it would be, but our roads around here are horrible. I've driven a few cars lately that I'm just like, wow, this is, you know, really the Volkswagen back here, wherever it is, that one back behind me. That feels super plush compared to this thing. And yeah, it's a newer car, but it just kind of got me thinking maybe I want something a little bit newer, just for a little bit better ride quality. Something that'll handle well. So got something in the works to replace the Corvette. Actually meeting a guy tomorrow that is picking up the car. I say picking up, I'm having to drive it about 2 hours up to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he's meeting me at the branch that I bank with there. They have one there, luckily. Making a pretty good profit on the car. All said and done, I'm making $2 or $3 grand off of what I put in it, so it's not that big of a difference. I've paid some of that back already, so it's a chunk, and it helps help with the new car payment some. So anyway, thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for watching this video series in this car. I really loved it. It's been a fantastic car. I will miss it.